Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I know everybody is probably starting to slowly trickle into the Zoom. So as everyone does that, I'll kind of give it a few minutes, but also wanted to take the time to introduce myself. Good evening. My name is Allison Verheyen. I am one of the student advocates here at U Online, and I have the great pleasure of working with our sport administration students, especially those who are starting off the program. So I am thrilled tonight to be working with all of you and speaking with all of you. And hopefully we can provide a little bit more information about our U Online Sport Administration program. We have a few housekeeping notes to kind of go over, just so that everyone knows. I get that it's dinner time and people are kind of either East Coasters or maybe just getting home from work. West Coasters, you guys maybe still have a few more hours to put in. So we want to be respectful of that time. We anticipate this to take about 45 minutes, but totally get if you need to scoot out a little bit early. We are recording this session and it will be available after the fact. So feel free to keep a lookout, or if you just kind of want to revisit some of the information that we discussed, you'll definitely be able to do that. If you have any questions throughout this, that's what this is all about. We want to make sure that you get those questions answered. Feel free to use that chat feature, or that Q&A, I believe is what it shows on your Zoom. You can type that question in and we will either be able to answer that by chatting you back, or oftentimes what I like to do is just sort of pose it to our panelists. So please feel free to use that. We want to make sure that you are getting all of those questions answered that you need. Lastly, if you're anything like me, you might be thinking of those questions after we finish the Zoom, as you're kind of thinking over everything that we discuss. So if you wake up in the morning and think, oh, I should have asked such and such, we've got a phenomenal team of enrollment advisors who would be happy to answer those questions for you. So we've got that contact information there on the slide at the bottom. We'll also provide it at the end. So don't be shy and feel free to reach out to us that way. But without further ado, I want to introduce our amazing panelists. I will actually allow them to introduce themselves because they are just the greatest. We've got Leslie, Elliott, and Wendy on this Zoom call with us. So maybe if we can start, Elliott, if you wouldn't mind kind of introducing yourself, and then we can kind of move through the panelists and kind of share everybody a little bit about who you are and how you're connected with the sport administration program.
Hi there. Hi, everybody. My name is Elliott Safdie, and I'm a graduate of the online Master's in Science and Education of Sports Administration. Personally, I'm working in aerospace right now, but I do also own a small business where I do some agricultural work and entrepreneurship. And I do coach at the athletic levels of the youth sports programs out in the west part of Florida. I travel extensively, and the University of Miami has been a great resource after graduation. I am using my degree. A lot of the courses that I took are very applicable in all the areas that I work in. So the education has been superb. It's prestigious. When you mentioned you're a graduate of University of Miami, I'm an advocate for the sports management program. I'm a supporter of the football team, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Leslie, do you want to go next for us?
Yeah, sure. Leslie Fitzpatrick. I am a graduate of the program 2016. I played professionally for 10 years after finishing undergrad, and then I've worked in the sport industry ever since. My most recent, or my actual present role right now, is the head of talent ID and recruitment for the MLS team, the New York Red Bulls. Took that position in February. Prior to that, I was the executive director for a nonprofit youth soccer team in Virginia, and before that, for 7 years in Toronto as a general manager and director of a youth soccer club there. Just echoing a lot of what Elliott said, getting a degree has been one of the most powerful tools that I've been able to use to advance myself in my career, along with the playing side of it, and obviously getting the licenses and stuff that you need within the profession. But certainly, and we'll get into that, the networking and all the different components of the degree. It's been tremendous. So I'm just happy to be here to answer any questions and to help you in your journey as you start making this decision on what's next in your career.
Thank you, Leslie. Turning it over now to Dr. Dees.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Wendy Dees, and the first thing I want to do is thank Allison and the U Online team for putting this together for us and for our students so that everyone can get the information that they need. And then I want to thank all the prospective students who've taken the time out of their day to learn about our program. It's a privilege and a pleasure to have you. And we're very grateful that you're considering the University of Miami for your graduate education. We know it's a huge decision. It's very important. And the fact that you're considering our program is really important to us. So thank you for being here. Again, I'm Wendy Dees. I'm a professor in the sport administration program. I'm also the graduate program director. And if you end up in our online program in sport administration, you would have me for 2 classes. I teach sport marketing, and then I teach our sport sponsorship, sales, and service course.
Awesome. Thank y'all so much. Well, without further ado, let's jump in. So my first question is actually going to be for our kind of alumni, because a lot of these prospective students on the call right now, they are trying to figure out, why what's going on. So maybe could you guys shed a little bit of light? What attracted you to pursue a sport administration degree online, specifically with What was distinct about this program versus maybe some of the others that you considered throughout your sort of research process?
You want to jump in, Elliot, or you want me to go?
I'll let you go, Leslie. You go first this time.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the prestige of as a sport institution speaks for itself. When I was looking at schools to play during my collegiate search, I'd looked into Obviously, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago originally. The proximity, having family there, but they didn't have a D1 men's soccer program at the time. And so I ended up going elsewhere for undergrad. And then once I was looking at the master's program, and was one of the ones that came onto my radar early, it was almost a no-brainer for me. I think just knowing, like I said, the prestige of the school, the online option was fantastic because I'd already been into my post-playing career, and so I needed an option. And obviously COVID has shown just what a viable option online has become. But when I looked at some of the other schools, they weren't as accredited as the U. They didn't have the stature of the U. Knowing the alumni that have passed through, and networking is such an important part of what we do in this industry. For me, and understanding, I had a chance to get down to school on a couple of occasions, and understanding that everything that we were going to be doing in online was the exact same coursework, the exact same professors as the in-person iteration of it. I thought the value that you get for it, the flexibility with being a professional already, and certainly the stature of the university, it was an easy sell for me to make that decision. And like I said, it's certainly one of the best decisions I've made considering the trajectory of my career since.
I could add to that a little bit. I found that the University of Miami brand name carries a lot of weight in the business of sports, as well as being a recognizable brand. So, the U is definitely a respected university. It is a top 50 ranked university. It's a research university. They're world class in everything they do, whether it's business, medicine, law, the arts. They're members of higher education standards like the Association of American Universities. which is you have to be invited to get that kind of prestigious um, testimonial name to the university. And I found that the class sizes are relatively smaller than some of the other schools I was looking at, and the fact that yes, as Leslie mentioned, sometimes these other universities, they hire online professors that are professors for hire, whereas the University of Miami, your professors are full-time academics. They're there in the daytime teaching the classes for the in-resident students, and then they're doing the online courses as well. So you're getting the same education by the same professors that those that are attending in person are getting. So that was very valuable to me.
Thank you guys. And I'm going to kind of turn it over to Dr. Dees to see your perspective and specifically kind of looking at it. How do you feel like earning a master's degree is going to set our students apart? I know that's something that a lot of people are looking at, trying to gain traction within the industry. Oftentimes, is at least what I hear from my students. So, Dr. Dees, what's kind of your perspective on that? I know Elliot and Leslie kind of touched on it, but would love to hear kind of your thoughts.
Of course. Well, most of the students that come to our U Online professional master's program are folks that are working full time, but many of them are not inside of the sport business industry, or they might be on the fringes of that, like Leslie was saying, in the coaching industry, but looking to get more of a business degree to move up the ladder or break into the front office. But many people are not working in the sport industry, but they have decided that that's their passion and they need the training and the expertise and the networking in order to get there. And so our degree is designed for people in that position, whether you have some sport experience or you're starting from scratch and your undergrad degree was not in that area. Our program is designed to give you 10 classes, a very in-depth overview of all the major areas that you would need to understand if you are going to work on the business side of sports. And then we set up the program and we have designed it to fit exactly what Elliot and Leslie discussed. We've designed it so that working professionals can have access to the exact same curriculum, the same professors, and the same industry experiences as our campus-based undergrad and master students. It is designed for the busy professional in mind. As Leslie drives around from work to the soccer field to recruit players in the professional sport industry, here he is. And he's the type of person that needed this program that we designed it for, and he's still busy to this day. I love it. Please be safe driving, Tiger. We don't want to lose you. The program is designed so that you have the same 10 classes that we teach on campus. You'll have the same professors that all have terminal degrees in their field, meaning they have the highest degree, a PhD or a law degree in their field. And then, like Elliot mentioned, we're all doing research in our respective areas of expertise. We've all worked in the industry before we got our PhDs or went to law school. So everyone has contacts within the industry. We're all still very active in the industry. So another thing I would say about this program, besides just the small class sizes, the asynchronous modality of the program so that you can work and have the flexibility that you need, the 7-week courses where you can progress through and complete these courses quickly and efficiently. Besides all of that, there is a heavy industry component where all of our activities, all of our assignments, all of our projects, they're designed to connect you with sport industry professionals so that you can get the contemporary knowledge that you need. All of the curriculum is designed to teach you what's going on in the front office of sport businesses today, and then also to connect you to the types of people that you can use to build a network such that when it's time for you to break into the industry, you either have those connections yourself or you have close contacts with your colleagues in your classes or your professors that are working in the sport industry and could help get you connected to the people that you need. And then in addition to that, since we're talking about the interaction and the connection to the industry, we really pride ourselves on our vast alumni network. And also, we just have a vast industry network of people who, like Elliot said, trust the U, know the brand, know the institution, and want to come share their knowledge and their research and their expertise with us. So, for example, I always tell our students, special things happen at the U that don't happen elsewhere. So if you're wondering why the U or why this program, what's different about the network, we give access to everything that our campus students have to our online students. So for example, last night, we had 2 guest speakers on campus in one evening. One of those was Caroline Bevillard. She spoke in my sport marketing class. She has a vast sport marketing and development background, but she is now one of the few female ADs out there at a Division I university. She's second in charge. She's the senior associate AD at East Carolina University. She spoke to my students about marketing and development and fundraising and moving up through the ranks and how to become a Division I university AD, and my students got access to her last night in my graduate class. And then we also had on campus Nicole Lynn, who was the first Black female sports agent in the NFL. And if you follow the NFL, Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles just signed the biggest contract in history last spring. And Nicole Smith negotiated that deal. So she just closed the biggest deal in NFL history. She's been the first in a lot of different areas, but she came to our campus last night for about 2 hours to speak to our students, interact with them, give them agency and law and finance knowledge. And it was just an incredible, powerful seminar that she gave. And all of those types of opportunities that our campus students have, we tried to record those, stream those. We invite our online students to campus to take part in all of those things. We have a big sport industry conference every April on campus where a lot of our online students come for the day or for the weekend and spend that time with our speakers that are there to help them. And our panelists will tell you that even though they may not be here on campus or in South Florida now, I know them personally, Elliot and Leslie. He goes by Tiger. We're like family. I know these gentlemen very well. I've spent a lot of time with them, and they know that they can come to the U at any time. It's their home, just like it is for any other student. And, we get to know our students on a personal basis. So those things I would say are the cornerstones of all of our programs, and you will have access to that as an online student with us.
It also made me think a lot about our partnership with the Florida Panthers. I know one of the students that I'm working with, he has been in the program, I think 3 semesters now, but he mentioned it to a faculty member, and days, I think, before they were set to play in the first Stanley Cup series game, the student that I'm working with was on a Zoom with one of their VPs, and he was like, I can't even believe it. But could you maybe share a little bit more about our partnership with the Panthers?
Of course. We just established within the last year a corporate partnership with the Florida Panthers NHL hockey team here in Miami or in South Florida. And it's really one of a kind. There are very few partnerships like this across the country. But not only is the University of Miami the official online education partner of the Florida Panthers, but we have a cross-promoted partnership with them where not only do we supply education for anyone in their front office who's looking to get involved in this program, which means if you're considering the U Online program for your master's degree, just know that people who are working in professional sports that don't have this degree are also going to be involved in the same program. And then they are reciprocating by providing 6 to 7 paid internships in their front office for our graduate students who are in this area or are willing to relocate to this area to work on their degree, whether it's online or on campus, and want to work in the various departments of their front office. So I believe the different departments that are involved, we have internships in marketing and event management and operations, in media and communications, in HR. I might be missing a couple of these. And community relations. So basically they have, requested interns from our graduate programs to basically fill almost every one of their front office departments. So if you are someone who joins the program, lives in this area, or would like to relocate somewhere in the area, you could still complete your master's fully online and have access to a full-time, year-long paid internship with a professional team as soon as you hit the ground. We have other students on campus who are doing internships like this all over the city of Miami, but we're really proud now that we have completed a partnership that will allow our online students to have the same unprecedented access.
It's very exciting. So I love hearing about it every time. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. I know we were joking about Leslie driving, but it's a reality, right? A lot of people are working, they're trying to pursue this degree while working, while having a family, while doing all of the things. So my questions for Leslie and Elliot, could you maybe give us an idea of how does this online program complement the schedule of a working professional or someone with family, or, insert other responsibility here, because there are a lot, but could you guys maybe give us a glimpse into how were you able to balance your coursework with those other commitments?
I'll take that one. When I was pursuing my classes, I was traveling extensively to South America. So I was away probably 60% of the time, primarily Argentina, Chile, Brazil, with occasional trips back home. So I found that I worked my work schedule with a consistent pattern where I can do my online work, and I would never miss an assignment because I knew what was expected of me. My company needed me to do their work, and I also needed to do my education. So it was a balancing act. It was very simple to do, since I knew that I had deliverables to the university, usually on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes Fridays and Saturdays, usually an exam on a Saturday. So it was very easy once I established that pattern. It didn't matter where I was in the world, as long as I had my computer and my access to my books, whether they were online books or they were books that I carried. I'm the type of person that likes to read real books, not stare at a computer. So I actually carried tons of books with me everywhere I went, and that was fine. It worked for me. So doesn't matter where you are in the world. It doesn't matter what shift you work. It's a 24/7 world. We're all busy people. You'll be able to meet your objectives, deliver your requirements on time, because you're going to know when they're due. So it doesn't matter where you are, what conflicts you have. Perhaps if you're a family person with small children, you might want to find the quiet time when everybody's sleeping, perhaps, or kids are put to bed, things like that, or send them off to the mall for the weekend. Do your work on the weekend, whatever works for you, but you can make it happen. That's my advice to anybody that's pursuing this program.
Yeah, and I'll jump in. So obviously, maybe I had better time management when I was actually taking school, because somehow I always end up like in this position. But no, honestly, I swear I take these they invite me to tour. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then inevitably something comes up and I have to be like driving or like getting there. So for me, I think it's similar, right? Like obviously I'm trying to get to that background that Dr. Dees has there. I want to get to life where it's just the beach in the background, but instead I'm like going towards New York City. But um, I think, you know, to piggyback on what Elliot's saying, we all live and lead hectic lifestyles, especially when you're trying to, you know, progress yourself. And one of the biggest things that I had from playing professionally was time management, you know, and going to undergrad and having to have a job and to get your soccer done and to get your undergrad studies in and get your work done. That helped me. And then having a program like this really amplified that because, like you said, you have everything that's laid out for you. You have your curriculum, you know what's going to be, you know, expected week to week. You know what the course is going to look like. You know when your tests are going to be. And at that time, I was working in Toronto, where I would have already a schedule that wasn't normal because coaching is nights and weekends or evenings and weekends, right? And so, you know, most people do their work during the day or the 9 to 5 or whatever it is. And I had the office job part of it. Then I had coaching nights and evenings. And so I had to find that like little niche before I went to bed from like 10 p.m. to like 1 a.m. where I got most of my work done when people sleep. It's like Elliot said, when everybody's sleeping, I got my work done. But then I didn't have to wake up until, you know, 8 or 9 in the morning because I didn't go into the office until 11. So I found my schedule, I found what worked, and this program really helped me with that. The one time that you do get into challenges sometimes is if you have a group assignment, because again, everybody's on different timelines and everybody works in different ways. But again, that's an easy enough fix when, you know, you go around and you kind of figure out what are a good timelines, or you send your notes and everybody can compares and contrasts, and you can find one time during the week when everybody kind of can get together and get, you know, a panel discussion or whatever it is. So I think having that flexibility was really, really important for me. And I wish that we could have these webinars at like 1 a.m. too, so I can finally like park and be available. But I do my best, and yeah, I think that's one of the strongest points of doing it this way is that you have the flexibility to really coordinate your schedule and work around it.
And we're so grateful for you to do it. So I've noticed a couple questions roll in, so I want to throw them out there because I'm sure many people are curious. So we had somebody ask specifically about other internship opportunities, specifically with Major League Baseball or the NFL teams. Can we think of any specific teams maybe that are offering up opportunities in the front office with either MLB or NFL?
Sure. I will just say that when you are at the University of Miami, there's really any sport organization at your fingertips. And I don't say that flippantly. I do mean that literally. We have faculty that are extremely well connected across the sport industry. Professor Paul Resnick, who is our internship director here on campus at the University of Miami, he runs a closed Facebook page where he puts all of the internship, volunteer, and job opportunities that come across everyone's desk onto one page. And it basically serves as a University of Miami current student and alumni job board. Once you become an official University of Miami student, you will get access to that page. You can see volunteer opportunities, special events that come to town. We're about to get a Rugby World Cup. They've already reached out to us for volunteers for that. Our students have worked Super Bowls, El Clasicos, F1s, Major League Baseball, All-Star weekends. The World Cup is coming. And maybe that's when I'll get to see Tiger next on campus. I hope. It's been a while since we've connected face to face. We're due for a little reunion. So Elliot and Leslie and I can maybe get together around some World Cup matches at Hard Rock Stadium. We have students that are about to go on December 2nd. We just got asked for students to work. The U.S. women's national team will play against China at 3 p.m. on December 2nd in Drive Pink Stadium. And we have a lot of students who are super excited about getting involved with the national team. You don't get to do that very often. So I think you're seeing a theme here that soccer is becoming very big in Miami. Thank you, Lionel Messi. We appreciate that. And it was big before, but it's massive now. But there's literally every sport opportunity here at the professional level, at the intercollegiate level, grassroots level. Dr. McNary, Erin McNary, who is our event management and globalization professor, she's been working the last 4 years with La Liga, and we've created a global partnership with them, similar to our Florida Panthers partnership. We have study abroad opportunities. Students are doing internships with La Liga. She just got back from taking students to Spain. Their students from Spain just came over and studied with us for a week. So we have that amazing partnership that's happening. I didn't mention that, but any of our study abroad opportunities, we have another partnership in South America with one of our former U Online master students who has a sports agency in Brazil. And we take students down to Brazil every year to learn about soccer, volleyball, multiple different sports in South America. So we have partnerships domestically, globally. All of those opportunities are open to our U Online students if they would like to participate, and many times they have. So it's wonderful to have our online students come with us on these trips. So there's really any sport industry opportunity at your fingertips. And as soon as you become a student, you will have access to the page where all of those are presented to you. And it reads like a menu of anything you want to do in the industry, where you pick the contact information for those folks, and the descriptions of those opportunities are there. And then it's just up to you to take advantage of as many of those as you would like. We'll get you connected as much as we can to those opportunities. And then you can apply everything that you're learning in the classroom to those wonderful industry experiences.
And that's the power of the network, because now you have Red Bulls, you have MLS. Like I get hit up every single week about internships and like all of that, and it's something that you can tap into. And I think that's testimony to the power of the network, being an alum and having the relationships with Dr. D's and Paul and some of these guys. It's like if something comes up, it would be, hey, I have an outreach. We have something coming up. Do you have anybody that's available?
Absolutely. And I know we had somebody else type in. And so just to reiterate, mentioning that they're located in Los Angeles. But again, these opportunities are not just all over the country, but literally global opportunities, which I think is so cool. And I know Paula sent me a few emails that we've posted on our support center page as well. So really, I mean, it's an incredible, I mean, I get excited. I'm not even in the industry and I'm like, whoa, are you kidding me? So really, really cool stuff. So thank you guys for sharing that. And we've talked a little bit about this, and I'm interested to Elliot and Leslie for your input into this question. We've talked a lot about networking. Let's kind of shift a little bit and focus on curriculum. How do you feel like the curriculum specifically helped you succeed in kind of because you guys are both obviously working in the industry, how do you feel the curriculum helped you succeed in what you're doing or growing your career? And what are some of the skills that you use in your current positions that maybe you learned through your U Online program?
Yeah, I can jump in first. I think for me, it was amazing because particularly in my last role as the executive director of that nonprofit club, you're a jack of all trades. And, certainly there was so many things that I learned, whether it was the marketing piece or the legal piece, or, you have a certain proficiency in one or two areas, but this degree takes you through like these 10 courses that are really a smorgasbord of anything that you can probably encounter or that you will encounter when you get into the professional world. And so it gives you a deep dive into different aspects of the industry. And then, if you have a particular focus and you want to be in advertising, or you want to be in marketing, or you want to be in sports law, or you want to get into partnerships, any of those things, you can then go a little bit deeper and, certainly connect with your professor or whoever it is to find out more, to get more reading, more literature, or, if you really find something that you connect with. Because a lot of us, we go in and we're not sure like what we want to do. I think there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, I don't know what I want to specialize in. And I think having that whole menu of courses in some of the key areas within the industry really helps you to probably have a better idea when you graduate of maybe I really like this. This is an area I want to specialize in. But on the flip side, like I said, when I went into that job, I left Toronto, had the degree, and then all of a sudden I'm getting, hit up with recruitment. I'm getting hit up with the advertising, the marketing, fundraising, like all of a bit more of a proficiency or a great proficiency in it by the time I was able to graduate. So I think that's one of the best parts of the degree as well, is just the wide array of expertise that you can get coming out of it.
I'll jump in and just add a little bit. So the education has helped me succeed in real world scenarios. I have used my knowledge that I've gained throughout the studies in my professional life. Now, one thing to understand is that the course material is going to cover just about anything you could get in an MBA. You're going to have classes in ethics, finance, fiscal management, marketing, legal, information management, things like that that you would get in an MBA. Now, the school also resides in the School of Education, so your degree will also have the Masters of Education, which is kind of interesting. I think it kind of helps open up some other doors as well. At least it gets you to the interview. Now, how has it helped me? It's the education helped me develop my critical thinking skills, probably quite more than I had prior to going to the program, and that has helped me make some successful, smart business decisions that have probably saved me a lot of money because I do some entrepreneurial work as well.
And
So
then you're going to donate that money right back to the program, right,
well,
Elliot?
I just donated some. Wasn't a lot. I just donated some last week. They had the annual email that comes out. Hey, can you give us a little extra to this? And I did give it to the student athlete fund.
You're the best.
So I'm getting a few questions as well about some of our application requirements, and I want students to know. I'm typing some answers. We're going to touch on those in a little bit as well, but I say maybe 5 more minutes of us chit-chatting, and then we can kind of go into the nuts and bolts of applying. But what sort of a final question that I have, because one thing that I love about this program is I really feel like we are on the forefront of what's going on in the industry. And so, Dr. Dees, if you could maybe touch on how do you, how does the program keep up with those industry trends, and how are you giving students that strong foundation to be successful as the industry evolves, because it is ever evolving?
Of course, that's one of the main things that we do with the program is we're constantly updating our curriculum or inviting in speakers or sharing current information, readings, video content with our students on where the industry is going. So for example, in the last year or two, some of the big topics that we've been talking about in our classes, assignments that we've had students researching and presenting on, have covered everything from the explosion of the gambling industry and the intersection of that in the sports world, where NIL is going in the college space and how it's impacting the professional space. Actually, Nicole Lynn talked about that last night, how that's changed how her clients think when she's signing guys from the college ranks into the NFL. And so it's dramatically changed her job the last 2 years. We do a lot of work, especially in my classes in marketing and sponsorship, talking about also the expansion of social and digital marketing and how we're reaching people in different ways technologically. Now we're going to move into how AI is going to impact our world and how corporate sponsors, brands, sport organizations are going to reach fans in a way using artificial intelligence or in the metaverse. We talk to students a lot about, Elliot mentioned ethics, Dr. Mullane and her ethics and leadership classes. She's, feels very strongly about people doing things the right way in our industry right now. I'm sure everyone sees things that are controversial, sees things that are being done, in the wrong way. And that's why it's very important for us, for our students, to have these 2 classes on ethics and sport leadership, and learning how to manage and lead people the right way, and make those tough, critical, decisions, and do the right thing when no one's looking. So, we really stress that. There's a lot of things going on right now in the sport industry. Conference realignment is huge. Collective bargaining is always huge, and media rights deals. There's just a lot going on in our industry right now. And so every time something evolves, our curriculum evolves with it. Our guest speakers, our topics at the sport industry conference, all of that, has to follow what the industry is doing. And I think it's important, when Elliot mentioned that we don't have adjuncts teaching our classes, we don't have PhD graduate assistants teaching our classes. The reason why we have full-time terminal degree faculty teaching our classes is because we're researching, and we're looking at all of these components with the critical lens of academia. And so you're getting people that are, reading about, researching, keeping up with these things, speaking with people in the industry on the front lines, and that information is getting presented to you each and every day in your classes. And so I think that's really important when, as a prospective student, when you're looking at other programs. And I will say this, I would love for you to come to the University of Miami. I would put our program up against anyone. But I will also be the first person to say, please look at other programs, put us up against everyone else. Ask questions like what the panelists have told you today. How big are my class sizes going to be? Are they going to be 25 students or less? How interactive are they going to be? How much am I going to have access to my faculty? Are they full-time faculty with terminal degrees? How many people have industry experience? How much access am I going to have to the industry? Is there a full-time internship director that can connect me to the industry? Is the program going to put jobs and people in front of me? Am I going to have access to everything on campus? You're also going to have access to everything resource-wise on our campus. If you want to use the Writing Center, they will work with you virtually now. If you want to work with the Career Center, they will work with you virtually now. If you want to work with the Launchpad, which is a division of the University of Miami specifically for entrepreneurs that want to start new businesses, Elliot has his own private business. We have a lot of students who now want to start their own businesses. We have a division that specifically helps student entrepreneurs. You get access to everything on campus at the University of Miami. And so I would encourage you, with your tuition dollars, to take advantage of all of that in the 2 years that you're with us. There are incredible people and resources at the University of Miami, and all of those things are at your fingertips for the 18 months or 15 months that you're with us. So ask that of your other programs that you're considering. And I have no problem with students, comparing us in all of these areas. And I hope that you find that we're the right fit for you.
Dr. Dees. And so trying to be mindful, we promised 45 minutes. I want to stick to that. I know people have dinner plans, places to go. So we will use these last few minutes to kind of go over some of the, as I promised, nuts and bolts of our application process, because we have a really big deadline coming up on Monday. So I want to make sure everyone is aware Monday, November 6th is our early admission deadline. So if you're considering the program, I highly encourage you to go ahead and get that application in. It's free to apply. It costs you nothing, so it can't hurt. And as you work to get in your admissions documents, know that by meeting that November 6th deadline, you're also going to qualify for a $300 deposit fee waiver. So we love that. We love saving money, right? As we think through what you need in order to qualify for that. So it's not just the application for admission, but it's also going to be sending in a personal statement. It's going to be sending in a resume. It's going to be sending in an unofficial transcript. We don't need officials in order to admit you. An unofficial is just fine. And then lastly, it will be letters of recommendation. So that's what completes our entire application process. I did have a question just come in, so I want to make sure to mention this as well. We love working with active military. We love working with veterans. They are a blast for me to be able to interact with. I know we've got some phenomenal ones in our sport admin program. I like to also point out that not only, of course, can you utilize your benefits at the university, we also offer, there's some scholarship opportunities, and then we are also a yellow ribbon school. So once you apply, you can work with, honestly, you'll work with me, and we can kind of work through getting in all of those documents and working with our Veterans Affairs office. But we love working with our military students. So, and then one last question I also see, applying for financial aid. So we will automatically consider you for university aid when you apply. So looking at some potential tuition waivers that we have based off of like your undergrad GPA and sort of things that are available on your resume for us to consider. But then you'll also likely want to fill out your FAFSA, which is the free application for student aid, and that will consider you for federal aid opportunities. So kind of twofold there. Looking back at this slide quickly, so we talked about that deposit fee waiver. We talked about, and I'll mention it again, Monday, November 6th, meeting that deadline because that's a big one. And then I'll also offer up, if you guys are thinking of other questions, maybe later this evening or tomorrow, as you're sort of thinking through this presentation, please don't hesitate to reach back out to us. We would be happy to help. Our enrollment team is available by calling, or we have this great live chat feature. So don't hesitate to touch base with us that way. You can also at the very bottom scan this QR code. So if you want to go ahead and start your application, you can do it that way, or by going to our website, myonline.miami.edu/sign up. All right, guys, I think we hit the right time. So I want to give a huge thank you to our panelists. Y'all were incredible as always. Thank you for spending time. And for all of our prospective students, thank you for giving us a portion of your afternoon or evening. It's been a blast. And thanks so much. Have a good evening, everyone.